Hey guys, this is Andy with Serenoa Landscape Design. We're in St. Augustine. We're in a little back street called Kings Ferry Road and Kings Ferry Way. And I wanted to show you this little landscape that we did. This is a really drought tolerant landscape. We don't have any irrigation here. The homeowner is going to hand water everything to get it established, and then as needed kind of water it in here and there. So let me show you some of these cool plants that we used on this job. We have a lot of really great Florida-friendly, bulletproof plants and a lot of natives on this job. This right here is not in bloom right now, but this is called a Dune Daisy or a Dune Sunflower. This makes a really nice ground cover that helps outcompete the weeds and creates a nice lush look, kind of hides all the mulch and sticks and stuff. We have a lot of different kinds of salvias. We actually have 5 different kinds of salvias on this job. We've got purple, pink, red, white, and I think another variety of pink or something, but this is a really cool plant as well. This is called Gallardia. It looks very similar to the blanket flower, except it has this red on it. This is the state wildflower of Florida, and it looks really nice to mix in. We're pretty close to the coast and close to you know, the intercoastal and the beach and everything, so these plants seem to fit really well here. Let me show you some of the other native plants that we have. This Sable Palm we can't take credit for, but it was here, and it does, you know, kind of bring a nice little essence to this landscape. We have a sea grape here that we inherited from the previous landscape as well, which we kept. These are called Kunti Palms. These are a native Florida plant. It's not a palm, it's actually a type of cycad. It's Florida's only variety of cycad that we have here, but it's a very drought tolerant plant that can do really well in very dry soil, wet soil, shady environments, sunny environments. Does well with salt. You can actually grow these right in the sand dunes, but it's a really great plant for pretty much any environment that we have here in Florida, and they also stand up against the cold pretty well. This right here is a coquina boulder. If you've ever been to St. Augustine before and seen the fort, it's made out of this same stone. This is made out of the Florida bedrock. It has shells in it and shark teeth, and it's a really pretty color. We're gonna wash this off to make it sparkle. It will lose kind of that orangey color later on. It'll start to gray, and you can get that color back by pressure washing it again. But these are a nice touch into our landscapes to give them a little bit of character. What we do with these boulders is we actually plant them. So we'll dig a hole, plant the boulder, and only have about a third to half of it being exposed. So it's kind of like a little natural outcropping, and it's just a nice accent to the landscape to give it a little bit of character and flair. And we also brought in a lot of dirt, so it's nice to use these boulders whenever we berm up things and try to give them a little bit of an elevated look and put the plants on display. Florida's so flat. It's really nice when we have a little bit of rocks that are native to Florida and a little bit of that topography going on in the landscape. Let's see what else I can show you guys. Come over here. We'll walk around this way. You'll notice this grass that I'm walking on is called a Bermuda grass, Tiff Tuff Bermuda. It's a really great drought tolerant turf that's very soft. It grows low. It's fine to have a lot of traffic on. It is really great for dogs. This is a sports turf that they use for football and golf. I like to use it in landscapes, but instead of keeping it so short where you're going to have a lot of maintenance, fertilizing it and using special kinds of lawnmowers to mow it and stuff, I recommend using it, but just keeping it more at that 3-inch mark, which is still lower than St. Augustine, but it kind of will do a lot better without having to have all that fertilization, dethatching, and all that kind of stuff. So come on this way. A couple other native plants that we have. This here is a Yaupon holly. They have really pretty red berries. Another interesting thing about them is that they're the only caffeinated plant in Northeast America. You can, when you're doing your shrub trimming and stuff, you can take these leaves and cook them in the oven and use them to make a tea with. That'll actually give you a little bit of a caffeine buzz. The Timucuan Indians that were native to this area here in Northeast Florida, they used to make a black drink, is what they would call it, and this was one of the staple ingredients in that. So I've never had the Yaupon tea, but I know there's a lot of companies like the Yaupon brothers and stuff that are making a lot of tea with that, so I am eager to try it. One day I'll let you guys know how that is. This is rosemary. It's a great, another edible plant to use in the landscape. It's really pretty, it's very drought tolerant, has a really nice fragrance, purple flowers, and this is gonna grow into just a nice solid ground cover, and that'll attract pollinators, and like I said, they'll be able to use it in the kitchen, which is really cool. This plant here looks really nice next to the rosemary because it has a different style leaf. This has, you know, that fine leaf. This has a big leaf. This is called railroad vine, and it's a native plant as well. It grows in the dunes, but it can also be great in landscapes, especially closer to the coast. They have these really pretty purple flowers on them, and they'll just spread and be very, very thick. They may die a little bit in the winter time, but then they come back, and that's just a really great native ground cover. Back here we have another native. It's called a sea grape. Those are really great for you know, when you're facing the south like this, and when you're closer to the coast where we don't get those really intense, all that cold weather that we can get sort of inland here in Northeast Florida. It's a really beautiful, exotic, very tropical looking plant, but it also checks off the box of being native, Florida friendly, really easy, super drought tolerant, really hard to kill. The cold weather will knock it back if we get a really hard winter like we had this year. The sea grape that you saw earlier, that one got hit by the winter, got totally knocked down, but now it's coming back. And I think by the end of the summer, it'll probably be over 6 feet tall again. So it's kind of nice gardening in Northeast Florida with our cold weather because it kind of resets things for us and doesn't. These in South Florida turn into like full-grown, bigger than oak trees, believe it or not. So it's kind of nice to have that cold weather here to restart things. And I might sneeze here in a second, but let me show you some more plants. This crepe myrtle we inherited. We got Blue Days. It's a great low maintenance ground cover that we use on almost every job. Brings lots of color to the, you know, the front of the house and the front door where your eye needs to go. This bird of paradise is another really great plant. I love to use these on jobs. It was already here, but we did move it somewhere else. And then back here we had a big viburnum hedge that we took out, and we put these split leaf philodendrons in, which is a nice hedge alternative. You don't have to trim it all the time, and it gives you a little bit of privacy while you're drinking your coffee. You can still wave to your neighbors, but they don't have to see your pajamas and everything. So those are really low maintenance and great. One of the other great plants that we have over here, I'll show you. This is called Platinum Beauty Lamandra. It's one of the toughest plants that you'll find here in Northeast Florida. People, almost everybody that I talk to loves, you know, having grasses in their landscape, but this is one of the best grasses for low maintenance. It has really pretty flowers on it. They're subtle, but they're really pretty. It has this really beautiful variegated light green and white lines in it, and it looks good all year long. You don't have to fertilize it, water it. It's very drought tolerant. Again, kind of like the Kunti, I've seen people plant these in the sand dunes. So it's very versatile, and it just looks good all the time. You know, muley grass, Fakahatchee grass, they're great native grasses, but they don't really have that great, you know, year-round look. They're kind of very seasonal. This is a great plant for the front yard to give you that evergreen, nice look. Right here, we have bulbine, which is a plant that's very good for Northeast Florida. Blooms almost all year long. Kind of has a leaf that feels like a succulent or aloe. Gives you a nice little grassy look, but it also has yellow and orange flowers, which is really cool. Last plant I'll show you is a great hedge. We'll pop over here and I'll show you what we got. This plant, I'm sure you've seen it a lot. This is called Podocarpus, and it's also called Japanese yew. It comes in a few different varieties, but this is a really great privacy shrub. It's good to kind of give you definition in your landscape, and it grows very slow, which is really nice. We usually try to sell them in larger sizes because they grow so slow, but they're very dense. They do a very good job of giving you privacy. Normally we plant these a little bit closer, but the customer wanted us to space these out. So anyways, they actually turn into really beautiful trees as well, but these are really great plants. They are toxic to dogs. A lot of people don't know that, so if you have dogs, don't recommend them. And they also, if they chew on things, and then they also don't really like wet feet. So they like to have a lot of really good drainage. So if you plant these, don't plant them You know, a lot of times people make the mistake of like places like Nocatee or where they have houses that are real up close together, in between the houses will be kind of a wet area, and they'll want to use this as a privacy hedge, but that wet area where the water collects in between the houses, this normally doesn't work there very good because they like to have that nice and dry feet. So anyways, that's it for this plant tour. Thank you guys for checking it out. If you have any questions, feel free to shoot me a private message, and hopefully we have some more jobs to show you guys soon. Thanks.